Hi, everyone. This is Miki Tsusaka, BCG's Chief Alumni Officer and also a Senior Partner and Managing Director in BCG Tokyo. I'm delighted to welcome Bernhard Kowatsch today for our BCG Alumni Leaders Series. He was in the Vienna office from 2006 and 2011, but he is currently now the head of the United Nations World Food Programme's Innovation Accelerator. The World Food Programme, of course, was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2020, and the accelerator itself has been awarded the Best Workplace for Innovators and Innovative Teams for the year 2020. They also made it to second place of Fast Company's Most Innovative Not-for-Profit Organizations for 2021. Since 2003, BCG is a very proud partner of the World Food Programme. So delighted to have Bernhard with us today. We'll be talking about his career, how he sees the future. But over to you, Bernhard. Perhaps you can just tell everyone a little bit about what you do at the World Food Programme.
Thank you so much, Miki, and it's a great pleasure to be here. At the World Food Programme, we are saving lives in emergencies, but we're also changing lives for hungry people across the globe. So in over 88 countries, we reach about 115 million people with that life-saving food. It could also be cash or vouchers or connecting farmers to markets or providing meals to children in schools. And this is where we as Innovation Accelerator come in. So we are trying to find the best startups and innovations globally that can help us disrupt hunger at scale. And so we started in 2015 with just 5 people, but by now we are reaching over 3.7 million people through the startups that we have been supporting already. And this is just the beginning, because we believe that through startups and innovations, we can end hunger.
So what actions can both organizations and individuals like us take to help end hunger worldwide, if that is even possible?
So world hunger is a solvable problem. We even right now have enough food on the planet to feed everybody to live a healthy life. However, oftentimes there's not enough food in particular countries, either because there's droughts, because there's wars, or people don't have enough to live a healthy life. So this is something that most of the time people will think about, well, maybe I can donate. There's actually an easy way, which is I co-founded an app called Share the Meal. You can press a button, and with 80 cents, you can feed a child for a day. So literally everybody can contribute. We need funding, but there's also more. And I think this is where the partnership with BCG is also helpful. Is the World Food Programme is, on the one hand, like a large-scale logistics organization, because we provide in-kind food, but over 35% of the assistance we provide is by now also cash or vouchers. So we're, in a certain extent, we are also a large-scale bank, and we're using blockchain technologies and so on. And using this business mindset of actually in our own operations, but at the same time inspiring corporations and people in the business world to think about what more can you do? Can you actually look into where do you source your products? Where do you want to build businesses? And maybe it's a future market of yours in developing countries where by doing business, you can at the same time lift people out of hunger.
So that is a complex organization with a complex set of functions that you carry every day. What are the industry trends going forward that you're looking out for to survive and thrive in the next decade to come?
So I guess one of the challenges that we're dealing with is that in an ideal world, we will no longer be necessary. However, we see that because of COVID-19, actually the hunger numbers, and because of climate change, the hunger numbers have gone up again, which means that we need new ideas, we need new technologies, new business models that can help us reach the goal, and also more unusual partnerships. So I think in our world, actually what we see as part of the opportunity here is a stronger collaboration with private sector companies, including new innovations and startups that can help us really find that next disruptive innovation. And those could be things like using blockchain technology or artificial intelligence, like the same thing that you would see in large-scale corporations. But at the same time, in our case, it's also rethink business models. So things that have been given away for free, charging them to people, or maybe finding new innovative ways of financing humanitarian operations. And these are things that we are very actively exploring.
Right. No, that's a good pivot, because I was about to ask you about innovation, particularly in this post-COVID world, if we can imagine. I think that relationship between innovation and social impact will be increasingly important. How, in your mind, do they influence one another to accomplish some of the innovations you just talked about?
Absolutely. And it's one of those areas where sometimes people think, there's so many problems. What could we possibly do? And innovations can help us make things more efficient and more effective. And the same logic that a lot of times when you have business people have, or investors, it's like this logic of, I need to invest because we will have more benefits later on. I think that's one of the areas where innovation and social impact can really come together. I don't see that as juxtaposed or different extremes. It's actually one area that can very well work together. And believing that innovations and startups can be one of the ingredients that can help us in big problems like global hunger, I think will get us very far in the future.
Right. I still think the challenge you're trying to solve is so immense, I can't even get my head around it. But as you lead the organization on a day-to-day basis, what are, if you look back, some of the challenges you've faced as a leader, and how have you overcome them?
So I think even for us as an innovation accelerator, we were starting with 5 people. So as a startup ourselves, if you want, and we are right now 57 people. Now, this is something where at first we had to prove that using this private sector methodology of working with startups, a startup accelerator can work in a social impact space. And that in itself was challenging at first, because it was new. It hadn't been done before in a social impact space for real, and doing that on a global scale for something like global hunger. As a leader, obviously, like believing in a vision, but at the same time, like working with your users, like the people who, like the startups, but the people that we are ultimately trying to work for and like working with. I think that is a constant challenge that we're trying to work on and to keep on improving. I don't think we ever will want to be in a situation where we become complacent. So I think it's a blessing and it's also a challenge at the same time. Until we've ended hunger, I think there's unfortunately still room for us and need for us to keep on pushing.
Right. I guess that innovation wave will continue in your leadership style as well. I guess one last question then from my end. If you reflect on your amazing career today, both your time at BCG before and after and what you do, what are some of the most important or helpful pieces of career advice that you've gotten and that you followed? That would be great to share with the audience.
So I think the first one, which is particularly important to me also, is like, do what you're actually excited about or passionate about doing. And that's obviously hard to find out. And sometimes you do need to explore actually doing things. Maybe what you're doing right now is the one thing you want to do, like for the future. Maybe you want to just work a day job and do something in your private life. But like in my personal view, I think if your day job is something that you are actually really passionate about, this is something that's one of the key ingredients, how you become amazing in what you do and also keep on growing. The second piece is probably thinking about where the journey will lead you. And this is recognizing that some of the career path might not be linear, nor may you be able to forecast every single step in advance. If somebody would have told me years ago that I would be leading like the innovation accelerator of a United Nations agency of the World Food Program, I would have not believed that. And so this is one of the areas where like it's definitely one of the things, like you need to create opportunities that actually will come your way if you're passionate, if you're really, really excited, and you also like think about like where you want to go longer term.
Perhaps I can bring you down memory lane. Are there any particular lessons from your BCG days that you might want to amplify? Or perhaps some of those lessons were the ones that you also picked up while you were with us?
I mean, most definitely. Like one of the things that I still treasure from my time at BCG is like to always create very high quality and very impactful things. So like this is something that it's something that has stuck with me and that I continue to push for is like, you know, not to do things that are just average, but to do things that are really amazing.
Yes, we try to strive for amazingness every day. That's true. But anyway, well, thank you so much for sharing your stories. And thank you for the incredible work you do for the world at large. I hope the audience has enjoyed our brief chat as much as I did. And I hope you'll tune in next month for BCG Alumni Leaders as well. Thank you so much, Bernhard.
Thank you so much, Miki. Really appreciate the conversation today. And also thank you to BCG for the support for the World Food Program for over a decade for now.
I know our teams love working with you. And so I'm sure our partnership will continue that way as well. Thank you.
Looking forward to that. Thank you.